Good morning, all of you. So, we will continue with Mother's Day, chapter 5, Snapshots. And so, we have already completed the chapter. And who is the author, the writer of this particular play?
J.B. Priestley.
J.B. Priestley. Okay, what is the basic plot? Vinayak, what is the basic plot of this play?
And, uh, and there's a woman whose family doesn't appreciate her for what she does.
Okay,
So, ma'am, okay. So, ma'am, his friend changed personalities with her
okay,
to, to show them how to behave with her.
all right, okay. Yes, Gaurav. I think you have also attended few classes to tell me that. What is the basic plot of this play? Means along which lines the whole play unfolds. What is the main plot? What is this play all about? Yes, Gaurav, any idea? All right. So, this in this play we have the portrayal of the position of woman in our families. That how we treat women in our families, how the mother is treated by her children, and how a husband treats a wife. And so this is in this particular chapter we have it in a humorous way. So there's a humorous description or portrayal of the position of a woman in her family. So the chief character, main character, the chief protagonist of the play is
Annie Pearson.
okay, Mrs. Annie Pearson. She is the leading character, all right, the chief protagonist of this play. All right, now, uh, what is the name of Mrs. Annie Pearson's daughter?
Doris Pearson.
Doris Pearson,
Boris,
right? And what is the son's name?
Cyril Pearson.
Okay, name of husband? George Pearson. All right, and what is the name of the friend and neighbor who helps Mrs. Annie Pearson?
Mrs. Fitzgerald.
All right, Mrs. Fitzgerald. Okay, so Mrs. Annie Pearson is not appreciated by her family. All right, and so Mrs. Fitzgerald, she tells her to stand up for her rights. All right, and to uh, take a stand, teach them a lesson. All right, so they know how to behave. All right, Mrs. Annie Pearson, she is a very timid, nervous type of lady, and she is also very naive, very simple, and she also is very fond of her family. And so she thinks that she won't be able to do this, and so she says to Mrs. Fitzgerald that even if I promise you, then also I will not be able to keep my words. And so Mrs. Fitzgerald, she says that okay, that means then I'll have to do it for you. And what she meant was that they change their bodies or they change their spirits, and so they both hold hands, and then they chant a mantra, and their spirits they interchange. So now Mrs. Annie Pearson, she is now bold and dominating, because now she has Mrs. Fitzgerald nature. And on the other hand, Mrs. Fitzgerald, now because she has Mrs. Annie Pearson's spirit in her, so now she becomes very timid and nervous type. All right. And then, now Mrs. Fitzgerald with Mrs. Annie Pearson's spirit, she goes back to her home, and Mrs. Annie Pearson is now left with Mrs. Fitzgerald's spirit, and there she is to teach the family members a lesson and to tell them how they should appreciate the woman of their house. Okay. So Doris comes in, we know, and she's taught a lesson by her mother. Cyril comes in and mother behaves with him also in the same manner. And then finally, what happens? Husband also comes in, and the children, they wanted to see that what will happen when father comes in, and so the wife, she treats George also in the same manner. And then she also tells him that everyone at the club where he goes night after night, and the time he does not spend at his home with his family, but he goes out night after night to the club, leaving his wife alone at house. And there also the people, they don't respect him, but they laugh at him, and he is one of their standing jokes. Means he is a source of regular amusement for the people at the club, for his companions at the club. And when George comes to know that, they also call him names, and they call him, what is the name that they call, that they have given him?
Pompey Pompey Pearson.
Okay, Pompey Pearson. All right, why? Because he was very pompous. All right, very he had a lot of self importance and very arrogant. Okay, so that we have all done. And then we also see that Mrs. Fitzgerald, she comes back because she comes back. And why? Because in the beginning, when they change their spirits, so Mrs. Fitzgerald with Mrs. Annie Pearson's spirit, now she's like that, okay, what will happen? So she is told by Mrs. Annie Pearson with Mrs. Fitzgerald's spirit that you go back home and you come back later after a while. All right, and then we you come out to find out that how things are. And so Mrs. Fitzgerald, she comes in, and she sees that all her family members, they are miserable, they are sad. And so she does not like it, because she is so fond of her family. And so again, they both change their spirits. And at the end, what happens? Saturday we did. What happens at the end? Yes, who will tell me?
At the end, they again change their spirits, and Mrs. Pearson also. Mrs. Fitzgerald tells Mrs. Pearson to be firm with the family, and she behaves firmly and convinces them to spend a day with her, play rummy, and the children will cook the supper.
All right. So the play, it ends on a happy note, with Mrs. Pearson achieving what she set out for. All right. That now the family, they have learned their lesson. And so at the end, they decide that all three of them will stay back at home, and they will have a game of rummy, and the children will cook supper, will get the supper ready, while Mrs. Annie Pearson, she has a word with George. And on that it ends, and the curtain falls. Okay, there are few question answers here. Let's try to do it. Okay, first one. This play, written in the 1950s, is a humorous and satirical description of the status of the mother in the family. What are the issues it raises? Okay, so what are the issues which are raised here? Main issue of this particular play. What is the main issue that is raised in this play? Yes, class? Okay, it talks about, I told you, the position of a woman in the family. All right, get your registers and pen ready. Let's write down the answer. All of you get a hold of your register and a pen.
1 minute.
Okay, beta. Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The main issue, the main issue that the play raises, the main issue that the play raises is that the main issue that the play raises is that the lady of the house is that the lady of the house, comma, the lady of the house, comma, who is just like, who is just like an axis, axis, who is just like an axis, comma, is never given, is never given her due respect, is never given her due respect, comma, especially, comma, especially if she is, especially if she is a simple housewife, especially if she is a simple housewife, full stop. The main issue that the play raises is that the lady of the house, comma, who is just like an axis, comma, is never given her due respect, comma, especially if she is a simple housewife, full stop. Continue. The family members, the family members take her for granted. The family members take her for granted, full stop. She works like, she works like an unpaid servant. She works like an unpaid servant, full stop. The second issue, the second issue is that, the second issue is that the mistress of the house, the second issue is that the mistress of the house, the mistress of the house should assert, should assert, ASSERT, should assert her position, should assert her position very firmly, should assert her position very firmly to the family members. The second issue is that the mistress of the house should assert her position very firmly to the family members, full stop. She should be ready, she should be ready to put across, she should be ready to put across her views, she should be ready to put across her views with determination, to put across her views with determination, rather than surrender meekly, rather than surrender meekly, full stop. I will repeat this whole paragraph again. The main issue that the play raises is that the lady of the house, comma, who is just like an axis, comma, is never given her due respect, comma, especially if she is a simple housewife, full stop. The family members take her for granted, full stop. She works like an unpaid servant, full stop. The second issue is that the mistress of the house should assert her position very firmly to the family members, full stop. She should be ready to put across her views with determination rather than surrender meekly, full stop. Now this is the answer to the first part of the question. Now the second part says, do you think it caricatures these issues, or do you think that the problem it raises are genuine? How does the play resolve the issues? Do you agree with the resolution? Okay, for this part, write down the issues raised. The issues raised in the play. The issues raised in the play are genuine. The issues raised in the play are genuine, even though they have been treated even though they have been treated with satire and humor. Even though they have been treated with satire and humor. Full stop. The problem that we come across, the problem that we come across in our life, the problem that we come across in our life has been depicted in the chapter, very sensitively, The problem that we come across in our lives has been depicted in the chapter very sensitively, full stop. The lady of the house should be the mistress. The lady of the house should be the mistress of the house. The lady of the house should be the mistress of the house, and the lady of the house should be the mistress of the house, and she should make sure that all family members and she should make sure that all the family members give her respect and recognition that she deserves. The lady of the house should be the mistress of the house, and she should make sure that all the family members give her respect and recognition that she deserves. Full stop. The issue is convincingly resolved in the play. The issue is convincingly resolved in the play. Full stop. The transformation of the personalities is symbolic. The transformation of the personalities is symbolic. Full stop. The author has portrayed the fact. The author has portrayed the fact that sometimes. The author has portrayed the fact, P-O-R-T-R-A-Y-E-D, the fact that sometimes one has to put one has to put one's foot down. ONE''S. That sometimes one has to put one's foot down. Full stop. Alright, so that is all the time we have for today. So we will stop here, and when we meet again tomorrow, then we'll continue